Gaming news today is a mixture of excitement, anger, and we've got a review roundup. The Indiana Jones and the Great Circle reviews are in, and they're not bad. It is a solid score. OpenCritic and Metacritic are around 86 and 87, and there are some clear trends in what is good and what's not really the focus of the game, so it should help you decide on whether or not you should dive into the game. Up to now, I've been sort of observing that I didn't think elements of the gameplay looked that good, but there were certain things that did look good, and the reviews largely have echoed that. I'm going to grab that quick summary, statements and conclusions from the range of reviews that are out there, because there are some that are very, very giving it high praise, and there are others that are a little bit more tepid. We also got the Gearbox CEO a little too excited about a Borderlands 4 trailer, and I'll look at that and what he said and when it's probably going to land. And then there is some anger being directed at Sarah Bond in light of a recent report about what she wants to do with the Xbox brand. And I do have a quick update for you about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That's very exciting. They released some new information and a new trailer yesterday. And as always, I've got games for your wish list and your radar, and they all came from the PC Gaming Show. I've got too many to put on your radar, but I grabbed 3 that I thought were the standouts, at least for me. I did watch the PC Gaming Show with my member pluses and my VIPs, so that's a great reason to click the join button, support the channel directly, and you get into all that extra content. And we have a brand new segment coming today called Bad Ideas, where I'm going to play a game with a buddy of mine, and it's going to be pretty bad, and that'll be this afternoon for members, as well as maybe sometimes that Friday night stretch goal stream with my wife. It's more of a talk show. So that's a great way to support the channel directly. If you can't do a membership, click the subscribe button and that bell button so you don't miss out on the content. So let's get into this Indiana Jones review roundup, all right? I'm going to grab some of the best and some of the worst. And I try to do this to give you a spectrum of what everybody is saying, because I do think there are some people that are going to want to avoid this game. It's not going to be fun for you. You're going to get annoyed. But I do think a lot of people are going to enjoy it, especially people who grew up with Indiana Jones. Now, VGC gave it 5 out of 5 stars. They said, "We had a smile on our face from the beginning to the end while playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. As close as games can come to genuine old-fashioned Hollywood blockbuster, it's also an incredibly rich adventure game stuffed to the gills with secrets to find." Now, they listed their pros and their cons. They said it's a joyous, campy adventure bursting with things to do. Troy Baker's performance is indistinguishable from Peak Harrison Ford. There's incredible visuals, an iconic score, witty writing. But then the cons are that the hand-to-hand combat can be clumsy. And that is one of the trends you're going to see, that the combat itself is not a shining star of this game. So if you wanted to get into this game and really feel the fun of grabbing people with your whip or shooting or punching, that's one of the weaker portions of the game, even from the positive reviews. Now, they weren't the only ones to give it a strong score. Games Radar gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and they said that it's the best adventure indie has embarked on in over 30 years. They concluded that, quote, "It's been over a decade since the last Indiana Jones game and longer since Lucasfilm Games peered outside the Star Wars universe, and the Great Circle only serves to highlight what we've been missing out on all these years. With its luxurious production values, smart pacing, strong stealth action, and expansive structure, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle shows that there's still plenty left for Lara Croft and Nathan Drake to learn about raiding tombs from the Master." Now, they praised the pacing there at the end. You heard that. But I did see others take issue with the pacing. Pure Xbox gave this a 6 out of 10. And they said that, quote, "The pacing is all out of whack. The open stealth-driven levels don't work in the context of an Indiana Jones romp. And the game just feels at odds with itself overall. We're always up for trying something different and for teams breaking genre tropes, but in the end, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is at its most fun in the fleeting moments, which is a shame considering the amount of care and attention that's been put into adapting this famous old franchise." So this is from Pure Xbox, okay? This is an Xbox game. It's an Xbox studio, and it will be coming to PlayStation later, but even Pure Xbox just did not vibe with the game. So you've got it. That could be you. You could be one of the people that's going to give it a 5 out of 5, or you could be more like them. Their pros, they said, it's a great vibe. They said it feels very Indiana Jones. Solid character performances across the whole cast, fun and nicely balanced puzzles, gorgeous Xbox visuals throughout. The main menus feature is very cool. Now, the cons are some poorly thought out levels that fail stay engaging, boring stealth that's broken at times, no viable options for a more head-on approach to combat, one-dimensional boss fights that seem a bit pointless, and first-person feels somewhat forced. So they didn't like those elements of the game, and it's not surprising if you go into this primarily wanting that gameplay to feel great. That is where this game does seem to be at its weakest. PC Magazine was also not that impressed with it. They gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. They said Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has the presentation and adventure chops to charm newcomers and nostalgists alike, but a handful of safe and stale gameplay elements keep it from excellence, and this was their verdict. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle feels like a lost chapter from the franchise's heyday, a testament to how faithfully MachineGames adapted the source material. The Great Circle presents a fascinating and engrossing new story with all the cinematic twists and thrills you would expect from the movies. The gameplay is good, but pacing issues and grounded combat mechanics keep it from achieving the heights of contemporary action-adventure and stealth games. That said, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a blast from the past that tickled my nostalgia bone in ways that surprised and delighted me, making its drawbacks easy to look past. Now, their pros and cons were: pros, outstanding presentation, fun exploration and puzzle solving, satisfying melee system. The cons were bloated exploration elements, occasionally confusing gameplay mechanics, and high system requirements. And the funny thing was, the one positive review that said the thing about pacing was great, and then there were multiple negative reviews that cited pacing as a problem. Even Jeff Grubb tweeted and said, "I think that Indiana Jones is very good and I like it, but it has pacing issues. You spend so long in each major area doing fetch quests that it can feel like a slog. The puzzles are simple order of operation contraptions, and the MacGuffin is difficult to care about." So, this is, I think, one of the things where you're going to see a split. It does seem to be those that were wooed by the story and the environments, and then there are those that were frustrated by the gameplay, the combat, and the pacing. You have to decide what type of gamer you are. Even the positive reviews just did not seem all that thrilled with the combat and the gameplay, so proceed with your eyes open. You got to know the type of player you are. This could be something that is delightful, and it could be something that is disappointing. Now, as far as disappointing goes, there's nothing more disappointing than when somebody teases about a trailer, but they're not releasing it. And the Borderlands 4 trailer is apparently around the corner. In case you missed it, CEO of Gearbox, Randy Pitchford, got a little too excited about the Borderlands 4 trailer, and he tweeted the following. He says, "Cooking up a new Borderlands 4 trailer, and it is bad ass." And he said, "The latest render is knocking me out. It's not supposed to talk about it yet, but I don't give an F. I'm freaking out." That's what he said. He also said "yo" at the end, just to make sure everybody knows that he's still hip with the young kids out there. Yo. Anyway, now obviously the first thought is that this is probably prep for the Game Awards. That's what I'm assuming that this trailer is going to be for. He started replying to people, and somebody said, "Let's see that gameplay." And he said, "I know, right? I can't wait to release this effing trailer." So he responded to somebody asking for gameplay. So hopefully this new trailer will have some gameplay. A playable version of the game exists because they did let a terminally ill fan already play the game. As a kind gesture, that fan was flown out with a friend first class to try out the game, and he said it was amazing. Hopefully he can stay with us in time to play the launch version of the game, and good up on Gearbox for doing that. Randy Pitchford also said that the first frame of the new trailer is the final frame of the previous, which is like the mechanical hand holding the Psycho mask. So maybe we find out who that person is holding the mask. And then, again, I think it's a safe bet that the trailer is going to be coming during the Game Awards. Now we've got some anger. It wouldn't be video game news if there wasn't somebody mad, right? So Sarah Bond is under fire. And for the longest time, I think everybody has liked Sarah Bond. She's charming, she's intelligent, she's pretty, and she's at all the events. She's there with Phil Spencer. She kind of became the other Xbox spokesperson celebrity, but now people are none too happy with her. The Verge's Tom Warren published a new notepad. It's behind a paywall, but there were tweets and summaries out there stating things about Sarah Bond that are not being celebrated by the Xbox loyal. According to one tweet, Sarah Bond has staked her professional reputation on the idea of Xbox being everywhere across multiple platforms and devices. Quote, "keen on spreading the Xbox everywhere message." Now, this is receiving some pretty steady stream of anger from long-term Xbox fans. Many view the new marketing push that you're seeing behind me, this is an Xbox, they see this as a betrayal. They see this as poor optics. And in light of the recent news that Forza Motorsport will be getting ray tracing updates on PC only, it's a pretty big ray tracing update, and it's only hitting PC, it's hard not to resonate with that feeling. The console just continues to be given the backseat treatment as the Series X now feels like the most pointless piece of gaming hardware in the market. And hearing that the new leadership is pushing for a further evolution and dilution of the brand is just more insults to injury. I continue to think that Xbox's push into Xbox Everywhere is just so nebulous that it lacks marketing punch. Non-gamers don't care that you've turned their device in their living room or their kitchen into an Xbox. If they wanted the game, they would be gaming. All it's doing is speedrunning Xbox's journey into being a third-party publisher, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to have the solvency and the reach and the return on investment that they're hoping for, but publishing has certainly done that for them with big games like Minecraft and Call of Duty. Now, moving on to better news, this was welcome news that I was waiting for. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 performance update. They were telling us, hey, we're going to let you know what the specs are. Now, they released a really strong story trailer that is running behind me right now, and this was during the PC Gaming show. And it honestly made me more anxious about the console performance because I do think this game looks like a good time. They released a PC requirement sheet that shows the game is actually pretty beefy, but being able to get 1080-60 with a GeForce 3060 gave me a little bit of hope for the consoles. And to my pleasant surprise, the previous reports about this game being capped at 30 FPS on console turned out to not be true. Both the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 will enjoy performance modes with an upscaled 1440-60 mode. It also seems to indicate you can run an unlocked frame rate if you have a VRR-capable device and HDMI 2.1 cable. And the PS5 Pro boasts of a performance mode with an upscaled 2160 resolution and 60 FPS. And it will be using the PSSR for the upscaling. So, needless to say, I will be diving into this game day one on February the 4th next year, hoping that it can convince me that first-person melee can be fun. I've never been a big fan of it, and this game looks like they've done a really good job with it. So we'll be checking it out. It did have its release date moved back earlier in February. I think they're trying to avoid all of the chaos that is about to ensue in February. Well, now I've got some games for your wish list and your radar, and these ones were shown yesterday during the PC Gaming show, and this is one that I really think you're going to want to keep your eye on. Now, I know people are going to dismiss this game because of its art style, but bear with me. This game is called Eternal Strands. It is coming to Game Pass, PS5, Steam, and the Epic Games Store on January the 28th, so it's right around the corner. Now, again, my biggest concern is it's going to get glossed over because this art style is extremely common now. It looks a little bit like Immortals Phoenix Rising. Dauntless just did their big update and it looks like this. Wayfinder kind of looks like this. I don't know why so many games are falling into this art style with lots of bright colors and purple and a little bit of a Fortnite effect, but the soundtrack, the voice acting, the writing, I thought were very solid for this style of game. Usually this style of game is very arcade-ish and not all that serious, and I was very impressed by the latest trailer. It actually sounds great, and I think the gameplay looks fun. I continue to feel like the combat and the boss battles and the abilities, it's kind of like a leveled up Immortals Phoenix Rising. And Creative Studio 3 is involved with the post-launch content. There'll be a new creature, a new armor set, and new weapons. So I think this game could be special. I really would keep an eye on this game because I think it's got some chops. I'm going to be checking it out in January. Make sure you're subbed to the channel, and I'll be playing that on the day that it's available. Now, another game that I think should be on your wish list in your radar is called Imperial. It's almost like the words empty real, just take out the T, right? Imperial. And this is a new sci-fi action RPG announced for PC, PS5, and the Xbox Series X and S. The tone, the vibe, the combat of this game, I think, is just dope. And according to their Twitter, the debut title from Silent Games weaves real-time combat and an ambitious narrative influenced by philosophy, literature, and mythology. Now, I'll be honest, the influence of philosophy, literature, and mythology makes me even more interested. I was already interested the first time I saw this because the combat looks very, very satisfying. It also has what I would consider to be very impressive music and writing and voice acting. These smaller studios are really starting to show their chops, and this game, I think, is well worth keeping an eye on, so put this one on your wish lists. Now, the next game that I want to put on your wish list and your radar is a sequel, and you might recognize it almost immediately, even though it is a little bit different in style and the camera. This is Moonlighter 2, a roguelike action RPG sequel to Moonlighter. This is called Moonlighter 2: The Endless Vault. It's going to hit PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series consoles as well as Steam. And honestly, I always considered trying out the first Moonlighter, but the art style and the camera angle were a little bit off-putting. This actually looks more up my alley. This feels a little bit more like the camera angle for the latest game from the Dead Cells developers. It's called Windblown. This looks a little bit more like that. Also, I just think the leaving behind the pixel art is a good decision. There's so many pixel art games nowadays. I don't dislike it. I just think that now it has a little bit more of its own art style. And it seems like the art style of the game also better matches the art style of their promotional art. So check out Moonlighter 2. Put that on your wish list and your radar. So just to recap, we looked at the Indiana Jones review scores. They're solid. I said it was going to land in the mid to low 80s. It's landing in the mid to high 80s. So it's a couple of points higher than I imagined it would land, around 86 and 87, which is great to see. I'm also going to be playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle gameplay today, if you're interested. I am going to try to play Path of Exile 2 at 2 p.m. Eastern. Probably not going to get in because there's so many people trying to play that game. We also looked at the fact that the Gearbox CEO is saying a Borderlands 4 trailer's around the corner, and everybody's mad at Sarah Bond because this is an Xbox is not going over well with the Xbox community, and good news about the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 performance on console. So that's the news, and now it's time for the discussion. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys so much for an insanely strong start. Take a very quick second. I want you to double check something. Make sure you have hit the like button because we are going to have a strong day here. You guys are well on your way to securing the goal of making Hilly and I both play Marvel Rivals with you, as well as making me play Infinity Nikki. And if you get the stretch goal, you get a talk show this evening with myself and my wife. That is just for Member Plus and above. But the stream with Hilly is for everybody. So make sure you're here this afternoon for Bad Ideas with Hilly. And I've got Dave Langer jumping in. He says, enough's enough. I'm never going to get a gifted, so I'm going to pick up my own. And he does a Member Plus. Hang on. I got to cancel out of that. I did the wrong thing. And I'm going to count that as 2. I'm going to count that as 2. So that is a Member Plus. If you sign up for Member Plus or VIP, I count as 2. So that's $4.29. And then I have 2 singles from Stone Spire, and he gets us to $4.31. I think he was trying to set up the 20 bomb dunker, but then Joker Quinn gifts one and takes us to $4.32. Darren renews his Member Plus for 6 months and gets us to $4.33. And then a single from Sneaky Wolf taking us to $4.34. And then a single from DK Baker taking us to $4.35. A nice strong start to the day, and you can get me to add to the total of members as well with Super Chats. So get that Super Chat goal going as well. We appreciate all the direct support. If you're like, I can't directly support the channel, that's okay. Just smash the heck out of that like button. It severely helps the video. I sent this to you not sure that you saw it's inspired by Hollow Knight and Dark Souls. Hark the Ghoul. I need to hang on. Let me check on that. SDO with a Member Plus renewal. Thank you so much. Moonlighter, you literally run a shop during the day while running dungeons at night for supplies to sell in your shop, then upgrading to go further in the dungeons. Just a unique gameplay loop. It sounds really, really fun. It really, really does. Is it, I don't know if is it co-op? Is Moonlighter 2 co-op? I'm actually kind of curious. Let's see. Moonlighter 2 Steam. I don't know if it's I spelled Moonlight instead of Moonlighter. Moonlighter 2, The Endless Vault on Steam is coming soon. It says it is just single player. Okay. Hang on. Let's take a look at this other game here called Hark the Ghoul. Oh no, I saw this yesterday. It was during one of the things. I don't like it. It's first person melee as well as first person shooting. It's a dungeon crawler, first-person Souls-like atmospheric Metroidvania. Yeah, this doesn't look like something that I would enjoy very much. I enjoyed like the Vampire Hunters, not Vampire Survivors. It's called Vampire Hunters and another game like it. These are like almost like boomer shooter survivor games, but this doesn't look like something I would enjoy because of the melee aspect. So I appreciate you putting it on my radar, though. It does look cool, just not something that I would particularly enjoy. I don't know. Maybe Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 will change my mind. You know, maybe it'll change my mind. I'm just not too keen on first-person melee. Melee. Happy Cloud Gamer says, for me, that's been a true gamer. Now, as a guy working with my passion acting, I become more of a mainstream gamer. So Xbox Game Pass works for me. Looking forward to Indiana Jones. Yeah, I mean, the problem with Game Pass now is that in the marketing, it's so segmented. They can't be like, play it day one on Game Pass. It's like, well, you can play it day one on Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass, but not on console, not on, Game Pass Standard. So it's like, I don't know. It used to be so crystal clear. It was like, play it day one on Game Pass. And a single gifted comes in from Joker Quinn and takes us to 437. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn. Bumping the line a little bit closer to that weekly goal. I did not play Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. No, I did not. People seem to really like it. People seem to really like the vibe of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I've just never been too big on the first-person melee. It's just never been my cup of tea. I think it's because in the earliest experiences I had as a gamer, first-person games, I was shooting a gun. And then if I was swinging a sword or an axe, it was third person. That was generally how I handled it. So, Path of Exile 2 is officially the largest stream of my entire life. Less than an hour in, 2 raids, 8,000 viewers. I love you guys. Good for Darth microtransactions, man. Good for him. We got some single gifteds coming in. I know what Stone Spire's doing. He's going to do 3 individuals because he's wanting to put this at 440. He's hoping somebody gifts a 10 bomb of members. I will then owe you guys 5. We will be at the 450 mark. Thank you so much. Stone Spire doing his own single gifted train. He's hoping to set up that 10 bomb dunker. I got to get me a DVD platform too, says Anthony Robinson. Have you played Skyrim? Yeah, when I played Skyrim, I played third person. Yeah, I didn't like the first person element of it. Patrick says, I would love it if Kingdom Come Deliverance changed your mind, but I highly doubt it would. The game has a lot of jank that I think you'd stub your toes on. Well, the early previews have said there's like a 45-minute IGN video, and they said that the blocking and the parries feel really, really good. They feel better. They feel like, I don't know, easier. I'm done with my Xbox. I switched to DVD. There you go. You don't need to melee if you don't want to. In Kingdom Come Deliverance? Isn't that like the entire elements? Isn't that like the entire combat system of the game? Is that you're in first person and you're using like a sword and a shield? Or like an axe or like, you know. Or are you talking about Skyrim? Are we disputing the high scores? I don't think we're disputing the high scores. It landed roughly where I thought it was going to land. I said mid to low 80s, and it's got like what, like an 86 or an 87. That 86 and 87 might slip over time. There's still a lot of, I would think there's more reviews coming in. There's not that many just yet. It's on the lower end of review totals. So usually as more reviews come in, a score drops a point or two. So when I said mid to low 80s, I mean, it's 1 or 2 points off from that. I would think that the reviews to me all kind of hit the same tone of they praised the same things and kind of shrugged at the same things. Even the people that were positive about the game are like, yeah, the combat's not that great and the gameplay's not that great, but the environments and the story and the voice acting carries the game as far as it seems. Even positive reviews had issues with like the melee combat or the stealth, or you know what I'm saying? I would dispute all those 10 indie scores, but the 8 seem to be spot on. I mean, it's one of the things, I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like it's a constant, so you just have to accept that, like, there are going to be games that get 10s no matter what, you know? Unless it's, like, really bad, like Redfall. I think what the highest score Redfall got was, like, an 8 or something. I must apologize to Lono for giving him crap for saying Skyrim. I played yesterday, and a bard was singing Skyrim. Skyrim. I mean, I don't know why people get so persnickety about it. It's like it could be said either way, I guess. I personally think it does not look great at all, says Dominic Lopez. I can't stand first-person combat, and there's a lot of graphics of Bethesda I can see in the videos. I don't feel like anybody took issue with the graphics of Indiana Jones gameplay, which is fair because in a game that's trying to be true to indie, the combat isn't the most important. Well, and I think that was always going to be a challenge, right? You can't have him running around, beating the tar out of people or getting into massive shootouts, right? You don't want to turn him into, something that he's not. Does that make sense? Like, I would have preferred it be third person, but I don't think it would have been good for him to, like, run around and get, like, an MP40 and he's, like, mowing down enemies. I don't think that would have been good. It would have been, like, kind of like, huh? I mean, he obviously has some iconic moments where he uses guns, but even the one most iconic gun scene is comedic. And he was supposed to fight the guy. He was sick that day, and he was like, you're just going to have to let me shoot him. Digital Foundry had a glowing review for what it's worth, but I've kind of cooled on them as well. Yeah, he can't be Rambo. I don't think I ever expected him to be Rambo. I expected it to be more about using the whip, the traversal, and solving puzzles. Like, almost have him be a little bit more of a Tomb Raider and not a Nathan Drake. Even Nathan Drake, I don't think gets... Well, no, he gets in some pretty lengthy shootouts when I played Uncharted 4. So yeah, maybe been a little bit more of a Lara Croft than a Nathan Drake. And I mean like the more recent Lara Croft, where she's a little bit more apprehensive to just go, guns a-blazing and kill everybody. I can't wait to get Indiana Jones on the PlayStation version. I might get a month of Game Pass to go ahead and play it. Yeah, I'm going to be playing it today. We're going to check it out, and we'll play it for about as long as we can. And then I am going to try and play Path of Exile 2. I probably won't be able to because of the servers, but I think it would have been more diverse combat-wise if it wasn't a faithful reference to the movies. Right, like if it was just a generic game, if it was just Xbox's version of Uncharted, sure, I think everything would have been very different. But I don't think whenever I initially saw the videos, I was like, oh, the combat's bad because he should be running around and shooting. I've always thought that the combat looks bad because it just doesn't flow all that well. Do you know what I'm saying? It just feels clunky and clumsy. And even positive reviews are not big on that part of the game. They're even... I read at least one positive review where that's listed as one of the cons. Like when they have their pros and their cons at the bottom of the article. Have fun today? Yo, thanks, man. If Indiana Jones had shootouts, then it would just be first-person Uncharted. Right. Right, and for me, I think that's a completely fine choice that they opted to not have it be combat heavy. I think that's totally fine. I do think if you're going to have him getting into, fisticuffs with guys, I think it would have felt better in third person. It would have, but, they opted to go first person. Did you see the direct comparison to the movie? It's really impressive. Yeah. The opening sequence is like right out of Temple of Doom. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things where I genuinely think that they were trying to make a game that honored the movies and the franchise and the feel. And I think because of that, it is going to feel like a movie game. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I've always kind of felt like that criticism was one made by people who didn't play the games they were criticizing. Personally, I think the PS5 servers will be fine on PoE 2 today. The PC servers, on the other hand, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Not Temple of Doom. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Sorry. I grew up more with Star Wars than Indiana Jones. We watched the Indiana Jones movies, I think, like once each. And I think we watched the Star Wars movies like 10 times each growing up as kids. I mean, we definitely gravitated to Star Wars. I don't know if the PS5 servers are going to be any different than the PC servers, Beanable, because isn't it a cross-play game? I asked this before, Zubair says, but is Indy So pretty. I'm compelled by my rig to play it. Like, this is what this is built for, compelled. I don't know. I didn't watch Digital Foundry's breakdown. You'd have to watch theirs. But they seem to be very impressed with it. The shooting the swordsman has become a classic storytelling trope. Pile on the bad in a dire situation, culminated with a seemingly unstoppable foe, and then give the main character a break with an easy out. For sure. You can disable crossplay. Okay, so if it's crossplay, does that mean that we're going to have different servers? Authentication might be a little bit easier to get through on PlayStation if there's less people playing. I don't know. Oh, Digital Foundry only reviewed it on console. They're going to do PC later. Oh, well, there you go, Zubair. You're going to have to wait. Troy Baker absolutely nailed a young Harrison Ford. He deserves a nom for the voice acting. He probably will. He probably will. Alana Pierce says, friendly reminder that I'm not a games journalist and have not been since I left IGN almost 7 years ago. Majority of my career has been in the creative writing, which I also studied at university. Thank you for your time. What are people giving her grief about? The movies aren't huge on the combat either. Yes, there is combat, but it's definitely not a focus point, says Anthony Robinson. So I get the game not being that focused either, but it still doesn't mean that there shouldn't be of quality. Yeah, I mean, I keep coming back to, if you're going to make me sneak around and you're going to make me punch guys, I want it to feel really, really good. Even if it's not the main focal point of the game. Right? Like, I would say that there are plenty of games where, like, the main focal point of some games isn't climbing, but you want the climbing to feel good when you make the player do it. Some games, the focal point is not getting into shootouts in combat, but when you do, you want it to feel good. From what I've seen from other people's streams, the loud crack of the whip is the gold icing on the cake. Yeah, people seem to really like the sound design. They feel like the punches are exaggerated and loud, kind of like you would have in like an old, you know, like a 90s action flick, you know? So the spirit of the movies is not combat, but constantly escaping danger. Classic movie serial formula. That's right. Yo, Steam Deck Live upgrades to Member Plus. That counts as 2. You guys are getting closer and closer. You need 58 more members for the weekly goal. We are very, very near. And you guys should try to do it without our boy. I'm not even going to say his name, because when I say his name, I swear I summon him. We need to try to hit the goal without him. Do me a favor if you haven't done so already. We've only been streaming for about 30 minutes. Smash the like button. Double check that it has saved your like. Give it that thumbs up. What is this disabled by owner? It says disabled by owner, but I can still thumbs it down. Why is this showing up on trailers now? People said that Indiana Jones said that you couldn't dislike it. It says disabled by owner, but it still lets me dislike it. Oh, do you know what's been disabled by owner? I think the extension's not working anymore that shows you the dislike count. John Lindemann says, I'll have a video up soon enough for the tech info, but this game is a masterpiece. It feels like a true successor to Riddick that I've always wanted at a larger scale. Anthony says 25 more. Yeah, let's get those 25 more likes. The goal of Indy is not to defeat the bad guys. It's to save an artifact. He runs unless he has to fight. Yeah, generally, I feel like running and traversal in a game like this is just better in third person. But, you know, people seem to be enjoying the game and liking it. So it just might be a little bit out of my preference. My preference is to be able to see my character. So as he's like jumping across an opening or jumping and grabbing a ledge, like I like to see the character when I'm doing that. I've done that in tons of games, whether it is, you know, a Tomb Raider and Assassin's Creed or Ghost of Tsushima. That's just my preference. I think it just flows better when you can see the character. ID Tech is kicking the butt out of UE5. That's all I see. Yeah, I mean, I'm really hopeful for Doom the Dark Ages to show that, you know, there are plenty of really good viable engines out there, and that, I mean, you hope that Unreal 5 can smooth out some of the rough edges, you know. The game does that really well, says Deuterino. So far from what I've played, you don't always have to fight. You can sneak past enemies with disguises and run. Lots of puzzles, too. If you have trouble platforming, the secret is just to equip the sword, and it puts you into third person. Easy. I need my coffee. What do you mean you need your coffee, Dave? Did you order some? Let's take a look here. No, Garrett Green ordered a bag of Frickmas. Thank you so much for you guys. Updates to Ubisoft loyalty program. We've expanded our program, allowing to exchange units and a wider selection of products. I don't really care about that. I don't care about your loyalty program, you know? I'm gonna try to wait the next couple of months for it to come out, but the AAA hype is catchy. This feels like Cyberpunk release until we found out it was crap. Indie looks buku promising so far. Oh, you're saying it looks promising. Yeah. That's all good. Lono got my point with whatever combat there is should still have quality behind it and feel good. Yo, it's good, Brooklyn. Yeah, Lucy James, I really like her. She's on the Friends Per Second podcast. I think she's great. She says that she thinks Indiana Jones might be her game of the year. She says it's Hitman meets Dishonored, and I'm having an absolute blast. So she really liked it. And I've never felt like she's out here being like Xbox fangirling. I mean, I feel like that's her genuine reaction to the game. She just thinks it's great. Now, I also saw, Greg Miller from Kind of Funny didn't give it a great score. Paris Lilly didn't give it a great score. I think Paris gave it a 7 and Greg gave it a 6. So, a little bit more tepid scores there compared to others. Yeah, Lucy said that on her socials. Yep. She did indeed. So people, like I said, I'm trying to tell people, just know the type of gamer you are before going in. If you're going in and you're expecting to be getting in great punchy punch, shooty shoots, crack that whip and hit this guy and throw that guy, you're going to be disappointed. It's if you're going to go in hoping to like center yourself around the combat or playing aggressive, I mean, it's not that kind of game. If you go in hoping for like a great story, a great cinematic experience, a really, really good Indiana Jones romp, then you'll have a perfectly fine time. It all comes down to expectations. The people that are giving it low scores, they're criticizing the same thing that the high scores criticize. Well, I've not read a high score or a good review yet that hasn't said that the combat's not that great or can be clumsy or clunky. Everybody is saying the same things. It's a matter of perspective. There are people that are like, that doesn't really matter to me. All this other stuff was so good. And then other people are like, no, that really matters to me. This other stuff over here is bad. So it makes perfectly good sense as to why people would be a little bit split on it. I think that really is what it's going to come down to. There are going to be people that are going to be very split on it whether or not it feels bad or it feels good. And I think that's because it all comes down to the expectations going in about, do you want a game where you feel like you're some kind of an action hero with a gun and a whip? Or do you want a game that is an Indiana Jones story, an Indiana Jones experience? I love indie, so I'll get it for the pro. Yeah, and then there's the people that are, some are being trollish about it, but some are being genuine. Some are being genuine. They're like, I'm going to wait for the pro. I think that's perfectly fine. I think it's perfectly fine to wait for the pro. I'm not. I paid the $35 to play so that I could play today. Elevated Vibrations hits 32 months and he bumps the membership line to 443. We are 7 members away from me gifting back. I have to gift back every 50, and you guys are very, very close. You guys are very, very close. And thank you so much. If you found this stream today and you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell button. We are getting a lot of people in here off of Suggest. So if you saw this video next to another video, we appreciate you coming in and joining us. It looks like most people that are searching and finding us are looking for Borderlands 4 news. There's not much in the way of news other than the fact that, like, Randy Pitchford is extremely excited about the next Borderlands 4 trailer, and he's saying that it'll be here soon. I think it's probably it's being prepped for the Game Awards. I hope we get a release date at the Game Awards. There's a playable version of Borderlands 4. There was a terminally ill fan that they allowed to play early. They flew him out first class with a friend and let him play it. He said it was amazing. This is a great game. I hope there are more games coming out. I love Indiana Jones. A lot of people seem to think that this is going to lead to that. Trash Boat says, just my monthly check-in. Thank you so much for being on Member Plus, man. We appreciate it so much. You guys that have upgraded to Member Plus and VIP, if you do that, it counts as 2. We appreciate it. Good old Randy. Yeah, he's eccentric and he can be a little cantankerous, but like, yeah, I don't know. I've never been all that fond of him, but you know, everybody's got different personalities and ways of existing. My fear of Indiana Jones is a death loop situation where major publications trip over themselves to call it the best game of the year, and then the players play it and feel underwhelmed. I am a little curious where the scores land. Alfonso with a 5-bomb, and he puts us on the doorstep for 49. There it is. There it is. Thank you so much, Alfonso. I appreciate it so much. I'm pretty sure Microsoft is more happy for me to buy it on my PS5 Pro than to play it on the Series X on Game Pass, because I will cancel as soon as I pay for it. You've always liked him. I mean, he can be tough to take. He can be tough to take. Like, I'm not going to judge him, and like Travis is calling him a POS. I'm not going to judge him because a lot of the stuff that he was accused of wasn't even true. Like the stuff with aliens, colonial marines and stuff. It came out in court that like he used his own money to try to fix that game. That was the developer's fault. And there it is. Patrick Q lands the 450, putting us exactly 50 members away from the goal of the week. I'm going to try to play Path of Exile today, probably unsuccessfully. The queue time's going to be probably pretty absurd. Yeah, we're going to try. We will try. The score is still 86. I believe so. Let's see. Indiana Jones and the Great. And then I'll pull up the Open Critic as well. It's an 86 on Xbox, 87 on PC. It only has 45 Xbox reviews and 44 PC reviews. Open Critic, there's only 70, and it's an 86. I could see the Open Critic score bumping up to closer to 100 and maybe dropping to like an 85. Just because I think the more people that weigh in on it, typically scores go down. They don't go up. It's harder to maintain a score the more people review your game. Punisher Matt with 16 months of memberships. Now is where we make Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Oh, now where is it? And that is Agents of Chaos. You bumped us past the 250. There it is. And I paid up the 5 that I owe you. Thank you so much. Very kind of you, sir. Monty Mole says I'm still gray. I can't afford it. 86 is a good... I'm sorry. I can't afford it. I can't help you if you can't afford it. Unfortunately, we don't have targeted gifting. I gifted, and it didn't hit you. Sorry. 86 is a good score. I think 86 is a perfectly fine score. I said it would be mid-80s, mid to low 80s is what I predicted. I was thinking like somewhere between 83 and 85. 86 is obviously 1 point above that. I still feel like it could dip down because I do feel like more reviews are going to come in and take issue with the gameplay and the combat. I think those issues are going to potentially drop the score. I'm also curious if those things drop the score for the users as well. Right? Like, I'm very interested to see Indiana Jones Steam. Is it like, when can you play it on Steam? It's available on Steam right now. It has a 93%. The users are really liking it on Steam. Only 234 reviews, but it's got a really strong score on Steam. I think if fans of Indiana Jones buy it, and the fans of like action adventure Uncharted style games kind of stay away from it, I think it'll probably get a great score from the users. Because again, I think if somebody goes into this hoping to have this really awesome adventure romp with shooting and punching and stuff. It's not that kind of game. And I think that's probably being the weaker point of the game. You better hope people don't buy it hoping for that, because that would pull your score down. Cyber Demon with a 5 bomb of members bumps a line to 456. Thank you so much for gifting those members and helping us grow the community here. What does it have on the Xbox store? Indiana Jones Xbox store. I am so bad at typing. It might not have a score yet on Xbox because the official release date is... Monty Mole says, I'm green. Hey, we got you, Monty Mole. We got you. Pre-order now. No, that's not it. Hang on. Standard edition. And a 5 bomb of members comes in from Jack Garland and gets us to 461. We're calling our shots today. Somebody took care of Monty Mole. Now we got to get Feed in here. It doesn't have enough reviews for a rating on Xbox. Somebody says, why isn't this on Game Pass? And they gave it 1 star. They're angry because the standard edition hits Game Pass next week. And then another guy says it's 5 stars, saying they got their first big hit game. So only 2 people have reviewed it. I wonder if we need to get the out of the standard edition and maybe we'll get more reviews. Nope. Maybe we need the upgrade edition. What's it called? I need the premium edition. Let me see if I can find the premium edition, because those would be the people that have it right now. Here we go. Go to game. Let me go to the premium edition and see if it has reviews. Okay, a 5 star, a 5 star, a 5 star, a 5 star, a 5 star. Let me load more. 5 star, 5 star. All I'm seeing are 5 stars. So everybody that paid to play early are giving it 5 stars. I haven't seen I'm just loading more and just scrolling. This guy says, I want a fedora. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 reviews on Xbox, and they're all 5 stars. So people are loving it. They are. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Steam score ends up being a little bit higher than the Xbox score middle of next week, because when you can play it on Game Pass, there will be people that aren't interested in it or aren't really big Indiana Jones fans that try it out, and then they end up, giving it a low score. That's an advantage, obviously, of Game Pass, is that you can try something that you might not be that interested in. But that advantage tends to pull game scores down. It happened to Lies of P. Like, Lies of P has its lowest user score on Xbox, and it's because of Game Pass. There's 1 PC review on the digital premium edition. I'm finally convinced that was the counting of a highly educated man. Got every number up to 16. That's right. That's right. I'm highly educated. I can count to 16 and keep my socks on. That's right. Of course they are. They spent money on Xbox. Are the same people giving Redfall an 8? No. I mean, Starfield got similar treatment. It had a really strong score from everybody who paid to play early, and then the score slowly fell after that. So we'll see. I mean, middle of next week, the user scores might be a little bit lower because you're dealing with people that either waited or didn't pay to play early. I would say an 86 from the outlets and a current 93 on Steam and all 5 stars on Xbox. I think people, as long as you know what you're getting into, I think people are going to enjoy the game. I think that's what it's going to come down to. The people that were giving it 6s and 7s were all taking issue with the same thing. They were all taking issue with the same thing. It was like, the combat's not that great, the punching's not that great, the gameplay's not that great. Like, even if they like it, they're like, yeah, these are probably the weaker parts of the game, and I think that that's okay. It would be kind of like, it would be kind of like playing a game like Stellar Blade or Black Myth Wukong and being like, I really wanted more cutscenes. You know what I'm saying? Like, those games had good narrative and good story. I think both Stellar Blade and Black Myth Wukong have good story and good narrative. But you're not going to get 3 hours of cutscenes in those games. They're not narrative driven. So to me, I think you have to go in knowing that if a game is going to be lacking something, if it's going to have an absence of something, you don't fault the game for that. It's like, well, no, it's not its goal. I don't think its goal was to be a combat-focused game. I still think it would be more enjoyable third person with respect to, like, climbing a building, jumping over a trap, or swinging with my whip. You know. Rumors are pointing to a new Steam console from Valve. Really? Rumors are now pointing to a Valve developing and releasing a new standalone Steam console in the future. I would love that. That'd be great. I heard the Game Pass PC deal is back. A few bucks for 3 months. That wouldn't surprise me, PL, if Xbox Game Pass is doing some kind of a deal on PC, because they have their greatest opportunity for growth on PC, according to Phil Spencer. You're climbing in third person. Yeah, I know, but like, it just doesn't look good because of the transition and the combat as well. I just don't think it looks good. But if Game Pass is doing some kind of a deal on PC, that's not surprising, because the price went up. They moved day and date to Ultimate and then raised the price, but you can still get day and date on PC Game Pass. The best deal right now for Game Pass is PC Game Pass. It's like, what, like $11.99 or whatever it is? So to me, it's like, yeah, that they're trying to get more people. I think Phil Spencer said something to the effect of, like, we've pretty much plateaued and got what we're going to get out of Xbox Game Pass on console, but they see potential for growth on PC. So that's why PC's Game Pass pricing is better. That's why it gets more for less. I mean, if you're console, that's got to make you feel a certain kind of way. It's like you guys are, very, very much taking a back seat. Very much. I mean, they've got Forza Motorsport getting, ray tracing, this nice ray tracing update, and it's only coming to PC. They're not doing it for the Series X, which is just bizarre. Like, they went from marketing the Series X as the world's most powerful console and all these great features and ray tracing and 4K and, standard 60 output, to launching games at 30, like Hellblade and Avowed, or, adding ray tracing to one of your tentpole franchises, one of your more iconic franchises, and you do it for PC and not for console. I just, that entire development and trajectory for the consoles has just been incredibly interesting. What's next big Xbox Studios release? Avowed will be releasing in February. We don't have release dates yet for Doom the Dark Ages or South of Midnight. They have both just indicated 2025. I believe Fable has also indicated 2025. It wouldn't shock me at all if that one slips out of 2025. That's just my gut feeling around Fable. But I believe what they would likely do is a developer direct in January, and that's when we'll get release dates for Doom the Dark Ages and South of Midnight. I hope. I again have like a gut feeling that Fable doesn't make it next year. I don't know why. I just think it's bigger, it's ambitious. With South of Midnight, Avowed, and Doom the Dark Ages, and if there's another annual Call of Duty, Xbox may say, hey, we can kick Fable down, we can kick that can down the road, if need be. Did you see Andy's tweet about TGA? Andy who? I thought Doom was early 2025. I don't know if they indicated early or fall or spring. I thought Doom the Dark Ages just said 2025 at the end of the trailer. I could be wrong. And then South of Midnight is the same. South of Midnight, I believe, is just 2025. I've always thought that would be a great pattern for Xbox to, like, use their showcases, come out swinging, bunch of trailers, and then just put next year on it, right? And then when the developer direct hits, you're close enough to all the release dates to give us release dates. Like, you basically start every year in January by you know, it's going to be a good year, and here's where your games are landing. Oh, when Andy Robinson from VGC says he feels like the Game Awards is going to be big. Oh, it is going to be big. Yes. It will likely be the biggest Game Awards they've ever had. It'll likely shatter all previous viewership records that they had, for sure. Year in review, 61 hours put me in the top 30% and achievements top 25%. How? Is no one playing Xbox Series X or PC, or are they lying about percentiles? I don't know if those percentiles do seem kind of strange. Like, I hit like 92 hours, Old Man Gaming Guru, and I was in like really small percentiles for stuff. It was kind of funny. What's it called? Xbox year in review. Yeah, I've got 97 hours, and it says that I'm in the top 25% of players played. I'm in the top 4% for gamer score, top 3% for achievements unlocked. That seems insane to me. I didn't do much on my Xbox at all. According to this, I got 192 achievements. I got 3,600 gamer score, and I played 97 hours. You know, I don't know. I didn't expect to be in the top percent of anything on that platform, because I just don't. Almost all those hours are my kids. You know, those aren't me. My wrap-up was weird, too. I don't play much, but I'm in the top 1% for achievements and gamer score. Is it achievements and gamer score total? Because my gamer score is kind of high, because I'm all the way from the 360 era. I have an 80,000 gamer score. You know what I mean? That 80,000 gamer score is not super high, but it's decent. No, the Forza ray tracing is really bad on console. It's not the same. Wait, is somebody saying Forza Motorsport's ray tracing is the same? Sony confirms new series. Play PS3 games on PS5. Potential upgrade. A potential PSVR 2 big gameplay overhaul upgrade. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Matt. Gall? Says Eugene, stop hating everything Microsoft. He's not hating everything Microsoft. He's stating facts. Forza has 3 modes on Xbox. 30 fidelity, 60 without ray tracing, and 60 with ray tracing. It's not the same, though. The PC is getting a new update to the ray tracing, and it's not coming to console. I think he's being factual. He's saying, listen, it's not the same. He's also saying Forza's ray tracing is bad on console. It hasn't gotten. Forza Motorsport had a lot of issues when it launched. I mean, it was clearly not ready when it released. It wasn't. So, I mean, to me, I think it's fair to say and to be factual and to be like, hey, they're adding this better level of ray tracing to Forza Motorsport on PC, and it's not hitting the Series X. I mean, again, that's a pretty big evolution in my mind, that the Xbox Series X went from being marketed as the most powerful console to not even getting that kind of a patch for one of their mainstay games. Of course, the ray tracing is better on PC versus console, but Forza does have ray tracing. It also went through many updates. Yes, and those updates prove that it launched and it wasn't ready and was in bad condition, which is another thing that's been frustrating for Xbox loyalists. And I'm not saying that the ray tracing is better on PC versus Xbox. I'm saying there is an update. They're adding more ray tracing, and it's not coming to the Xbox. That is a first-party studio game that is now creating a very distinct lack of feature parity with a first-party game. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to do this update just for PC. Now, I'm not against that. I'm not saying, oh, they shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that's a pretty significant shift from what they were doing when they first started marketing this Xbox. That's fair to say. To look at how they marketed the Project Scarlet and then the Series X, and to look at where things have come, I think it's fair to say, holy moly, they have really deprioritized the console. That can't be the point of the argument. Ray tracing will always be better on PC. It's the nature of the beast. Right. My point was not that it's better. My point was that it's getting something that console is not. And what Eugene is saying, when they've measured it and looked at it, Forza's console ray tracing is bad, and GT7's non-ray tracing lighting is better. Like, it hasn't gone over all that well. And again, the frustration point would be is that that game was promoted. Go back and look at the initial trailers. It looks nothing like what they originally marketed. It just doesn't look like it at all. My bad, I'm actually 582,000 gamer score. Yeah, I play a lot. Yeah, that's a high gamer score. I put in work on the gamer score. I was like 4% in Wisconsin. Number 4 in Wisconsin. Yeah, my gamer score stalled out. I think I came into this gen in like the 70,000s. I've only gained maybe 10,000 on my gamer score during this era. I gained a lot more during the 360 era, and then I probably slowed down again during the Xbox One era because I played so much Destiny, you know. And when you play one game, you miss out on all those easy chivos when like a new game comes out. The game was empty compared to what they advertised, and GT7, it's much better now for a casual racing fan. Aren't there like 7 total people in Wisconsin? First-party racing games are supposed to be flagships showing off the console at the highest heights. Yes. Traditionally speaking, and again, none of this is hate. Traditionally speaking, Forza was one of the strongest ways to show off the power of what an Xbox could do. It was typically a tent pole. It was a front burner. It was like, yo, look at how amazing this is. Look at how sexy this game is. And then Forza Motorsport came out, and clearly something happened along the way. We don't know what, but something happened. Yo, good morning, Emu Billy. Guys, take a quick second. Let's get some more likes. Go through that ritual. If you've come in, say hello in the chat. Even if you're lurking, just do a little greeting to the community and say what's up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can talk in the chat. And do me a quick favor. Make sure it has saved your thumbs up. And make sure and double check you don't have a membership renewal. We are 39 members away from the weekly goal. Has to be cows. They like cheese. GT7 is doing what Forza promised. Digital Foundry already said that Gran Turismo 7's ray tracing is better than Forza Motorsport on PC or console. Oof. Racing games are typically easier to run at higher resolution and frame rate as you don't have as many things on the screen at the same time. Right, your render distance is so much more shallow because you don't have to have anything at certain angles, and as the car turns, and obviously you do, but yeah, much more contained with respect to like render distance, draw distance, and all of that. They're able to jam a lot more in to the immediate area around the car. We don't have any clue who might be acquiring Ubisoft. Yeah, we don't. No clue right now. Speculation, I believe, is looking at Tencent is what it's looking at. This is the best Christmas tree I've ever seen. What is that? Is that from Star Wars? GT7 is kind of a masterpiece, in my opinion. No matter what Forza offered, it'd be hard to top Gran Turismo right now. I don't see any good option with the Ubisoft purchase. Yeah, I mean, I don't think PlayStation's even gonna. I don't even think they're gonna enter the ring. I don't think they're gonna enter the ring. I think it's gonna come down to like Tencent and maybe Embracer. I don't know if Embracer. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that movie. That is. I forgot about The Rock. I thought those are like supposed to be the bombs that they drop in that one Star Wars movie where everybody makes fun of the scene where the bombs are like hanging. I thought it was supposed to be like that, but with Christmas bulbs. What movie is that? That's The Rock with Nicolas Cage. And oh man, there's so many people in that. Yeah, there's a lot of people in it. I can't. It's got Sean Connery. It's got Nick Cage. It's got Ed Harris. There's a lot. There's a lot of people in it. It's good. These children don't know The Rock. I looked at it, a small version of it, and it looked like somebody had just taken Christmas bulbs and had like stacked them on top of each other like the bombs in that one Star Wars scene that everybody makes fun of. It's at the beginning of The Last Jedi. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's a good movie. Only thing Gran Turismo 7 needs to add is qualifying in a single player. Starting every race back at the grid is not for me. Multiplayer is great, though. It's exactly what you would expect from a movie with those dudes in it. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, Christian Slater's in it. Yeah. There's a lot of people in it, dude. Every time you turn around, you recognize somebody. Little green balls always look delicious to me. Yeah. Sony will focus on closing the Katakawa deal. Yeah, I think Sony's probably more focused on getting Katakawa than trying to get Ubisoft. Ubisoft's probably too big and too expensive, honestly. Sony allocated more funds for acquisition, but I don't think they allocated that much. I think Ubisoft's asking price is going to be too high, even if they're stripping things down. Yeah, Michael Beam's in it as well. That's right. Which is... that's not Hicks. Is it Hicks? Hicks Aliens? Is that his name in Aliens? Johnny Ringo? It's Bean. Yeah, with an N. Michael Bean. It was always him and Sean Bean. You get the names mixed up. What's the value of Ubisoft? I mean, what's the advantage of owning them? Ubisoft has a ridiculous amount of IP. Like a ridiculous amount of IP. Human Fall Flat now has a PlayStation VR 2 version. Oh my gosh. That's more than the PlayStation Division. Sony isn't about to take on 20,000 employees. Yeah, it's 20,000 employees. I mean, they have a stupid amount of IP. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon. Like, it's just unbelievable. The amount of IP underneath Ubisoft is absurd. The Division. Don't those big games still sell a lot? Jake, I don't know. I mean, there's obviously... I think we're getting to a point where there's breaking points. Like, I think some of the studios and devs are just too big. And it ends up being too volatile. It's like the games have to sell like absolute gangbusters or they lose money. I think that's why AC Shadows got delayed. I think the controversy really jarred them and scared them. And they were like, the project's just too expensive. We've got to course correct and give this thing another shot. So, PSVR is still a thing. Why? PlayStation seems committed to it, even though they didn't seem all that committed the first year. I think VR is a slow burn, you know? I don't think VR is going to be mainstream anytime soon. I think it's a slow burn. I don't think you're going to see a lot of push from anybody into VR. Meta's going to spend all this money on exclusives, and they're going to learn that it won't move the needle enough, I don't think. Who remembers Spy versus Mercs? Yeah, Splinter Cell. Yeah. That PvP was crazy. Oh, man. I had a friend that's all he ever wanted to play was that stinking Spy versus Mercs in Splinter Cell. PSVR 2 adding full hand tracking is great. If you use it on MetaQuest all the time. Yeah, MetaQuest hand tracking is actually pretty cool. The first time I played a game where it did the... What's that called? It's not augmented reality. It's a version of VR where they put stuff in the room with you. So I can see my living room, and it put something in the room with me, and I walked up to it, and I reached out, and I grabbed it. That was pretty dope. So the only downside to doing something like that on PSVR 2 is that you're cabled up. MetaQuest doesn't have one, so that, you know, that is nice. VR done right should be the next big thing. VR is always going to struggle because you're selling to a smaller market, which means publishing dollars and investment will be scarce. Projects will then be shorter, smaller, and not as good, which then makes it a harder sell. So you don't get the best games or the biggest games or the most high quality games, because the budgets are, it's harder to get funding, and the funding's not going to come in because there's not a lot of consumers. And there's not a lot of consumers because maybe there aren't enough games. Maybe there aren't enough quality games. Maybe when they put it on their face, they don't like it. Maybe it makes them feel woozy. Maybe they think $500 is too steep for another, gaming peripheral. They could just buy a console for that much. I mean, there are a lot of hurdles standing in the way of VR getting good adoption rate. And they all start to compound on each other. The lack of adoption rate leads to lack of funding and investment. And the lack of funding and investment leads to lower quality games or less frequent games, or games that are not as big or as exciting, like with respect to like big licensed IP that would get people to come over and check it out, like Batman, which Meta probably spent a pretty hefty amount of coin for that. I just think Meta's going to learn a hard lesson on that front. I don't think there's going to be a lot of ROI for what they're spending for those exclusives. I would love for Sony to do more with it, but there's just not likely. Let's see here. We are going to play Indiana Jones and the Great Circle gameplay today, so stay tuned for that, guys. That'll be happening. We are obviously going to try to play Path of Exile 2. That's in like 2.5 hours. That's probably a fool's errand that we won't pull off. So keep it going, though. Don't slow down. Smash the likes. Keep the members going. We're close to the goal for the week. And, we're talking about anything and everything. We talked. Oh, there it is. I was like, I could see something in my peripheral on my glasses. It was a hair hanging down. We went through and looked at the reviews of the Indiana Jones game reviews. We checked that out. And we will be diving into gameplay. There's also a brand new segment this afternoon for members that we will be doing. That will be me playing a game with Hilly, just remember. So it's a great reason to make sure your membership is re-upped and ready to go. Stretch goals within reach. You guys might need some help. You might need some help in order for that to take place. We'll see if anybody shows up and helps push it to that. Right now, the goals within reach. And let me get this scheduled so that it's ready, and then it sends out the 30 Indiana and the Great Circle. I've got it installed, ready to go on my Xbox Series X, so if you guys are curious about the experience, what it feels like, what it looks like, we'll be checking that out this afternoon. And it's been doing well. The scores are a couple points higher than I saw it averaging, and that's good. Everybody was on Twitter, I think, kind of holding their breath. I saw a lot of guys almost like take an audible exhale of like, whew, we got a good one. We got a good score. It's been a rough year for some of the more loyal. Understandably. I heard Rivals will run at 120 FPS on the Pro. I tried one game of Rivals, and I played as Rocket Raccoon, and I had no idea what the frick was going on. I was just running around shooting, and, I was just running around shooting, having fun, got some kills, I was amazed I got in as quickly as I did. I was like, oh, it's probably going to be a disaster. Booted up, got in the game, ran around and shot, people, and then shut it down, and then went and watched television. I had no idea what the frick was going on. It was like, and we won. I don't know how. I don't know what we did. Rocket's a healer. He's a healer? I thought he was support. Like, I thought I was throwing down stuff for their their weapons and abilities. It's rubbish in my opinion, but it does run at 120. I'll be interested to see if they can maintain the player numbers. I told people that it had a shot, and it's getting really, really good results. It's getting a lot of people playing it, which is not surprising. Fastest loading multiplayer in history. I couldn't believe it. I thought for sure I was going to sit in a queue. I was gutting people as Wolverine. It's good stuff so far. Some of the characters seem insanely strong. There was a guy playing as Venom, and I think I saw him die twice. It was obnoxious. It was obnoxious. He just ran around, he had so much health. And I think somebody kept healing him. It was like, gee, many Christmas. The skin seemed legit. Yeah. Recognizable IP with good-looking skins. I mean, they made all the female characters look awesome. We know that's a big push for skins in games like that. Only 6 games until the Game Awards. Do you think we'll see more Light No Fire? What's good, Captain Steve? I think we will get Light No Fire. I'm hoping we get some actual, just like some gameplay. Just like, hey, here's a sample of what you might do. You know how Sean likes to do that. I don't know if they're going to give us a release date, though. I feel like they're going to stay cryptic and weird and keep doing stuff in No Man's Sky that seems to be hinting at, or like seems to be, I don't know. Xbox has been off for so long. It had to do an update. Yeah. You got to make sure and turn on every once in a while. You're going to get hit with those updates. PvP games don't usually have issues on launch unless you're Overwatch 2. Endgame Iron Man is in Marvel Finals. Yeah, I thought all the characters looked so good. The movement felt good, the shooting felt good. I don't play games like that, but I was like, yeah, I used to. So, hero shooters are a pass for me after Concord. I mean, I saw somebody talking about how successful Marvel Rivals is being, and it was like, oh, I thought Concord failed because nobody wants to play hero shooters. And it's like, no, it's not that nobody wants to play hero shooters. It's just that there's already some out there. So you're going to have a hard time establishing yourself, and Concord just looked like another one. Marvel Rivals, as I said anytime I talked about Concord, I said Marvel Rivals is going to make it really, really hard for a game like Concord to get its footing because it's recognizable IP. Like the prospect of coming and playing as Iron Man or Spider-Man is far more inviting than come play as random characters you've never heard of in another hero shooter. Like Rivals isn't just another hero shooter. It's a Marvel hero shooter. It's a completely different experiment. If they would have come out with just another hero shooter and the concept of the game was these are superheroes, right? And so you would have had your obvious superheroes, guys that are really fast, guys that can fly, guys that can do stuff with fire and ice and explosions or whatever. It wouldn't have done well. It wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, hero shooters are viable. No, it's a Marvel game. It's Marvel IP. You can make a Star Wars anything. Yeah, and it probably has a shot. Exactly. I saw you covered Light of Motirum. That one's on my radar to keep an eye on. I thought Light of Motirum looked generic. If you go back and really fine-tooth comb analyze the fights, it reminded me of the First Descendant, and how in the First Descendant you always go into the same room to fight the bosses. Every single time there was a boss fight in the Light of Motirum trailer, it was like a circular arena. So it's kind of got that Mon-Hun, but also very sort of generic. I don't know. I feel like that game's going to end up being a soulless, monetized cash cow, and it'll probably get most of its money on mobile because it's hitting PC, PS5, iOS, and Android. And the minute that happens, and it comes from that, and it comes from one of the companies that are kind of notoriously known for that. Yeah, I'm not too impressed by just borrowing ideas from all these other games. Like one-to-one animations from Elden Ring, and an unbelievable amount of almost one-to-one theft from Horizon, and then combat structure and flow that feels very, very similar to Mon-Hun. I just didn't see anything that looks new. It looked like a bunch of other games mashed together. Now, that could lead to an amazing result, and it could be incredibly popular, or again, it could just feel soulless, like it just got no soul at all. So, combat reminded me of Wayfinders. I mean, I didn't see that at all. The big, giant, heavy swings on a monster that stuns it, and rolling out of the way of its big, strong attacks. I mean, a lot of the combat in Wayfinders is... Maybe there's elements of Wayfinders that are like that. I didn't play that far into it. I didn't like the way that the shooting felt in Wayfinders. Are there no plagiarism laws in video games? No. Unless you do like a too direct of a copy. And Belphegor comes in with the 5 bomb and says, come on, boys, let's get this goal and make Lono play Infinity Nikki. And that's going to take us to 66, but then we're going to go to 67. 467 as Mike onto Mike gifts a member as well. To me, it appeals more than another Borderlands. Caleb with a $5 super chat. In honor of Dave becoming a member, thank you so much, Caleb, for the $5 super chat. That's the first super chat of the day. I know we're not talking about it anymore. It took me a few to find the gift. There you go. And a single from Stone Spire. Stone Spire's probably going to try to round this out to 70. He's going to probably bump the line a couple of times. 468. He'll probably do 2 singles to bump this to 70. There he goes. Yeah, as long as you don't infringe on copyright or patents, yeah, it's... You can't be like, hey, that looks too much like our stuff, you know? Will Power World get shut down by Nintendo? And there it is. 3 gifteds in a row from Stone Spire takes us up to 470. Thank you so much, Stone Spire, for your consistent support and just growth of the community. I heard Infinity Nikki's good. Well, if you get this to 500, I got to play Infinity Nikki. We'll play a little bit of Marvel Rivals as well. Hilly and I are going to play the Mines of Moria game this afternoon just for members. And if you hit the stretch goal, you'll get another stream as well tonight with Madam. Infinity Nikki's a gacha game? I don't know. Behemoth VR came out on Meta and PSVR 2 yesterday, taking a look at that. The reviews seem to be pretty good. It does seem to be like there are some glitches and bugs, though, which is frustrating because the PSVR 2 consistently gets bad ports of VR games. Like, it's really irritating. Lido with 32 months. Double dipping the Path of Exile 2 queue between PC and PS5 to double my chances. There you go. 32 months. And Lido bumps the line to 471. Thank you so much. The tossing ball to capture creatures is a big one that Nintendo is trying to get them on. Yeah. Will you do a stream before the Game Awards winner and what could be getting the trailer there? Yeah, we'll probably stream that day and do a prediction stream or something to that effect. Yeah. Any creature you catch in a ball and call it back to add to your team. I hope Nintendo loses their lawsuit. I think patents like that are stupid. They intentionally filed the patent 4 to 6 months after the Palworld trailer hit. So instead of being like, oh, there's a competitor out there who's doing something that we've been doing, they're trying to like retroactively claim that like, oh, this is our mechanic. And I hope they lose. I think that's terrible for the gaming industry to have people like patenting up mechanics so other people can't use them. What if FromSoft would have done that with the souls and the sitting at a bonfire and all of that? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I hope Nintendo loses that lawsuit. I think it's a stupid lawsuit. Nintendo's drawing ire from its gamers with regard to Palworld. It's a really low blow to patent basic gaming mechanics because of jealousy. I don't think it's jealousy. I think they're trying to remove. They're not trying to protect they're not trying to protect their property. They're trying to remove a competitor from the market. The motivation is completely different. If I'm the judge, the first question I ask is, why didn't you patent this when Pokemon first came out? Right. I think that's a very important question. Why did you patent this as soon as it looked like another game was going to come into the market? It was going to be, somewhat similar to what your game does. You didn't patent this when you first came up with it because you thought it was a novel idea. You seemed to react to competition in the market with this patent. To an extent, it would force people to be more innovative. I mean, yes and no. Capturing monsters in a game, I don't know. It's a good analogy, the bonfires mechanic. Yeah, we have so many games that have clearly taken inspiration from Soulsborne style games, and we should be grateful that FromSoft didn't try to patent all that stuff up. Maybe From should have patented the bonfire. But why, though? Why? Like having games that are clearly signaling that, hey, you like that type of game, we took a crack at it. Whether it's a rogue where you die and go back to the beginning, or games that are clearly taking inspiration from Hades. Like, to me, I think there's value in signaling to the consumer, hey, you like that type of game. We made one of those, and there's touch points in the game that feel familiar. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a problem with that at all. Whether it's a bonfire system or a go back and pick up your soul system, or a Metroidvania system. Like what if somebody would have patented double jump and wall jumps in platformers? What if they would have done that? What if somebody would have patented, dashing through or away from an enemy and getting an iframe? What if somebody would have patented iframes? What that would have done to video games? No, we were the first ones to come up with an iframe, with an invincibility frame. If you do that, you're clearly taking from our innovation and our originality. What that would have done to all the games that we play now. What about the concept of a perfect parry? What if somebody would have patented that? We wouldn't have gotten the beauty that is Sekiro. Who did invent the iframe? I don't know. Just start listing all of the great mechanics in those games that are part and parcel to the experience, that if somebody would have patented because they got there first, it would have been terrible. We'd have a lot more variety. That's a false assumption. That's an unfounded assumption. I don't agree. I don't think you can claim that. Just because you choke out the industry with patents doesn't automatically lead to more innovation and more variety. It might have drove people out of the market and been like, it's too hard to make a game now. It's too easy to get sued if you try to do this or you try to do that or you try to do this other thing over here. It's too difficult. We can't rely on any institutional knowledge that we have from playing other games or building other games or working on other games. All these little studios that spin up, and clearly, like Titanfall. Titanfall is a great example of an IP in a game that probably wouldn't have existed because those guys left Call of Duty and took all their institutional knowledge and experience and brought it to bear and brought a new game to market. And much of that leaned on their ability to build a great shooter. You could choke the market. You could get rid of innovation. You could get rid of creativity because people would frickin' leave. They'd be like, you can't flourish in a market that is this over patented. We'd have better laws about what is or isn't patentable. I don't know. I hope Nintendo loses. My pushback is, if somebody does something similar to your game, bad assumption is assuming that patents would hold up. No, that wasn't an assumption. It was the hypothetical of the discussion. The hypothetical of the discussion is, what if all these other companies would have done that too? It would have driven people to be scared to try it because they don't want to get sued. Ergo, you would have choked out innovation and creativity because people have been like, well, there's only so much you can do in a platformer. There's only so much you can do in a third-person action adventure game with melee-based combat, right? So the hypothetical was, well, thank goodness a bunch of other companies didn't say, we came up with a cool idea, we're going to patent it so nobody else can use it. Now you're saying, well, the assumption is that it would hold up. You could still over patent and have all these companies. Like, if you're a smaller AA or indie studio, are you going to roll the dice? You're going to roll the dice and be like, well, the patent won't hold up in court. And you bleed companies dry with legal fees. We're like, oh, I've got to go to court and prove that the patent's not legitimate. What Eugene is saying, that what is going to happen with Nintendo today would have happened 40 years ago, and if the patents were invalidated then, it would have eliminated the problem. Well, that's a completely different argument, and that would have been great. That wasn't what I was entertaining. I was entertaining the idea and notion, what if every big studio and developer would have taken that attitude? Of like, we came up with a cool idea, we're going to patent it. Well, AA's and indie studios would have been like, we're not going to take the risk of copying or taking inspiration from that mechanic. We might get sued. You wouldn't have games like, goodness, you probably wouldn't have games like Hades. Hades borrowed a lot from established franchises like Diablo and Dead Cells. It's better now because there's so much prior art. And Jaddix upgrades to Member Plus. If you upgrade to a Plus or a VIP, it counts as 2, and that pushes us to 473. According to this video, GTA did it first in a mod. Hopefully that can be demonstrated in court and the patents are invalidated. I got knocked down to regular member for some reason. Jaddix, I had about 20 or 30 member pluses all of a sudden disappear. It was super weird. When I got back from my Thanksgiving break, our member plus and above count dropped. And I think it's because every so many days they do something where some people have to go in and manually do it. So the absolute cluster that would come from the courts deliberating on what game mechanics fall into a patent category. Yeah, I think it'd be... we don't want it. Stone Spire gifts a member. He's going to set us up really nicely. I know what he's doing. He's going to get us... I'm just going to do it. I'm putting it 475. I know what he's going to do. There it is. There's the double. There's the double. Thank you so much, Stone Spire. We are now 25 members away from the goal. You guys got a little bit of time. We'll be doing some Indiana Jones gameplay in about 20 minutes or so. So smash that like button. Get us the first 300 likes. We potentially lost better mechanics because people copied instead of being original. Or we potentially gotten better and more refined mechanics because people took an idea and they innovated on it. I believe that this continuum goes both ways. Forced to innovate, maybe would have gotten better ideas. Who knows? Maybe it would have driven a lot of the smaller studios out of the industry because they wouldn't want to risk copying something or coming up with their own thing that people didn't like. It's very possible that we got refined versions of mechanics because people weren't doing this crap. Whether it's something like, I'll give you an example. Playing Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown and seeing very clear inspiration from other Metroidvania games, be it lassoing to an object to hurl yourself upwards, or dashing through the air, or double jumping, or sliding. All of those things that they wove together in Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown, to me, here's why I don't agree with what you're saying, Eugene. Once I've established that I like that kind of game, I'm okay with playing another game that has those mechanics because I get to do it again. It's like playing a fighting game and you like fighting games, and so you play a new fighting game that has kicks, punches, jumps, and the like, and then those things are there for you to enjoy, analyze, critique, or whatever based on your preferences, experiences, and what you've played. So because I've developed an affinity for Metroidvanias, I don't want somebody patenting Metroidvania mechanics and then I get less games with less of those features. I don't want one game that has all the features and then that's it, and hopefully that developer doesn't just sit on the patents. The fearmongers keep using simple things though. Right, but think about a game that comes out and it was, let's say it was the first game to do double jumps, dashing while in the air, and iframes, and they said this is something that is synonymous with our game. Like Souls games. There are things that are quite literally synonymous with their games. Eric Drahmeyer with 27 months bumps the line to 476. Thank you so much. And Gifted Gamer with 4 months. Is Subliminals COD's free this weekend? Are the sales really that bad? I thought the sales were fine. I thought they were doing the free thing because they want to get more people in. They always do that so many weeks out, don't they? I mean, look at what they did with the Nemesis system. Yeah, Dave just brought it up. They're just sitting on it. Nobody can use it. The Nemesis system was such a cool idea that could right now, we could have better versions, different versions, evolved versions, innovation within that, iteration within that. We could have better versions of the Nemesis system. I didn't even like it all that much. But it could have been the spark to a flame of an idea that could have given birth to a whole bunch of games. But instead, they patent the Nemesis system and then they frickin' sit on it. And now nobody can make games with a system like that. Unless you feel like going to court and trying to claim that it's not original to them. Which I think would be difficult, because I don't know if there were games that had ever done that before. Like Rise of the Ronin copying Ghost? How did Rise of the Ronin copy Ghost? The Nemesis system is different, I think. I don't think so. It was a cool idea, and now nobody can do anything with it. Except for them. The Nemesis system could have done greatly all the way up until it was done to death, and we were complaining about how tired we were of the Nemesis system. Every gay mechanic? I think you meant to say game mechanic. Every gay mechanic deserves that. all of the game mechanics of the world, they deserve that. They deserve better systems in their games. You know what I mean? He hits on me every time I take my car in for a tune-up, but he does great work. All those gay mechanics out there, dude. Yeah, I don't know what Rise of the Ronin you could claim copied from Ghost of Tsushima. If you're going to try to claim it copied stances, I believe Neo did stances before Ghost of Tsushima did. You guys have got 15 minutes to get 24 members to hit the goal. And then we're going to go over and we're going to do some gameplay. And then you'll have some time to work on the stretch goal. Thank you guys so much. You can get that 24. I'll drop a 5. And then in 15 minutes, we're going to be going and playing Indiana Jones. I need to make sure my the right capture card is hooked up. That's what I need to do. I don't think it is. It's all Pong. It's Pong all the way down. It always has been and always will be. Give me 1 second. Lona, are you going to do some gay play? Stop. Oh, man. They kind of copied the Fox system from Ghost of Tsushima. They did? Oh, like following a dog or something? I mean, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? I mean... Hang on, my Xbox isn't plugged into the internet. $5 super chat from Lancelot said, "Can I get your opinion on Black Myth Wukong? For me, I thought it would be more story. I didn't complete it because it runs so poorly on console. I can't play 30 FPS games. I can't do it. And the basically what they did was they built a 30 FPS game, and Super Gaming with the 5 bomb gets us a little bit closer. See if anybody comes in and dunks home the 20. We've had so many 20 bomb setups, and that's a big one. Thank you, Super Gaming, for that setup. So generous. They basically took, it's a 30 FPS game, and they use frame gen to double the frames. Like, it's terrible. It is terrible. Now, it runs a little bit better on the PS5 Pro, but I beat the Big Bear boss, I would say rather efficiently for somebody who had not been playing the game. I feel like I kind of got right back into the swing of things. Clone Drone and the Hyperdrome, Steam and MetaQuest. Man, I wish that game would come out for console. Anyway, So, like, yeah, I can't go back and play it. It literally drives me crazy. Like, it just doesn't feel good. I beat that boss, the bear boss. I got to the next area, and the performance was just freaking terrible. I mean, terrible. It was jittery and stuttery. It was like, it ran a little bit better for that boss fight, but, like, it's just not a well-optimized game for console, like, at all. Good show today. Thank you, Nitro Fusion. The balance mode in Wukong runs way better than performance mode. It still has issues, though. Yeah. I'll go so far as to say you would not have had PlayStation if Sega and Nintendo could copyright and patent all the game design. Yeah, I think it would have hurt. It would have hurt the industry if they would have walked out and did all that. It would have. Dauntless really effed up people's progress. Yeah, they got rid of everyone's progress. They removed weapon crafting. Yeah, they were trying to do like a restart, you know? Are you going to try Indie on the Pro when it comes out? I don't think this is a game that I would buy a second time. I paid $35 to play early today. I don't think, you know... You know what I mean? You have such a hate boner for this game. You ain't seen nothing yet. Don't worry, you wouldn't finish it because it's way harder in the end. So, speaking factually about the game means I hate it. That's your summary of what I said about how it's a 30 FPS game. They use frame gen to double the frames, which is terrible. Digital Foundry called it an abuse of the technology. They laughed at how they implemented frame gen. It leads to dropped inputs. It leads to input delay and latency. And that's me hating the game. Speaking factually about how it performs, having standards and saying, I'm not going to play a game that's going to run that poorly. I'm just not. You think that's me hating on the game. And you think I wouldn't last because it gets harder in the end. Really. I've beat Sekiro, Elden Ring, and Dark Souls 3, and I only ever quit a game if I feel like I'm not enjoying it. I don't quit a game because I'm not good enough. Like, I didn't quit Lies of P because I wasn't good enough. I wasn't having fun. I didn't like the swamp monster. I didn't want to deal with the mechanics of the fight. I've got better things to do. I've got a backlog of games I can play. Sneaky Wolf with a $5 super chat tip. So Xbox popped up when Sega died, and now it seems like Valve will step up after Xbox dies. Maybe. Lono was hyping it up as a possible Game of the Year. Yeah, I have a video on my channel saying it was a Game of the Year contender. What they did with the technology irritates me. I'm not talking about the game. When I talk about Black Myth Wukong, but you played Elden Ring... Yeah, I played and beat Elden Ring. The performance issues in Elden Ring weren't even remotely close. Sekiro's laughable easy on PS5. Played on PS4. Are you drunk? What are you saying? It was 30 FPS as well? Homie, are you okay? Did someone walk into your house and hit you over the head, and now you've just decided to start chatting? You're not making any sense. Sekiro is laughable easy on the PS5? What? It's considered one of the more challenging games in the Soulsborne... It's a FromSoft game. It's not really a Souls game. It's a FromSoft game. Within the FromSoft catalog, it's considered the hardest, if not... close to the hardest. I think there's maybe harder bosses in the DLC of Dark Souls 3 or maybe Dark Souls 2. Well, what are you even saying? You're not making any sense. I won't play Bloodborne because it's 30 FPS. I don't think you understand. I honestly think you're a little bit out of your depth. I don't think you understand what I'm saying when I'm criticizing. Did you play it on PS4? No! What? Black Myth Wukong came out in 2024. We are 4 years into a generation that promised 60 FPS. When Destiny 2 came out on PC, I switched to mainly playing video games on PC. Fortnite, any game that came out, I played on PC. Do you want to know why? I wanted 60 FPS. A $5 super chat from Andy Ackerman. Don't hate on his hater comment about you being a hater. Ben with 41 months. I'm spying on you guys from Canada. By the way, Tim Horton sucks. And that is 482. We need 18 more members before we end this stream. You guys got 5 minutes, and a single comes in from Alfonso, gifting the body double of Alfonso. So now that we're in this time, when I play a game like that, I want 60 FPS. The Lies of P developers quite literally said that that is a fundamental need for games like that, to have smooth, consistent 60 FPS. Black Myth Wukong on console is anything but smooth and consistent with respect to performance and frame rate. I'm talking about the technical performance of the game. Of course, it has problems, but all these games had, but you hand-weight every game because it's FromSoft. So hypocritical, can't stand this BS. You have never watched my content if you think I hand-waved Elden Ring's performance issues because it was FromSoft. You don't know who you're talking to. I called the launch version of that game an embarrassment because of how it ran. I talked about how it was a joke that it didn't even, it took them how long to fix the frame issues in Elden Ring. You've not watched my content if you think I hand-waved Elden Ring's performance issues. And it having problems, it doesn't have problems. Black Myth Wukong is a 30 FPS game that uses frame gen to double the frames. That is not what that technology is supposed to be used for. It leads to consistent problems with latency of input, dropped inputs, and stuttering. But you played it lately and it didn't get much better. The issue of frame stutters or frame issues in Elden Ring are not even close to what is going on in Black Myth Wukong. I think you're out of your depth. I truly don't think you understand. When I say it's a 30 FPS game and they use frame gen to double the frames, I think blood squirts out your nose and you hear a ringing. Like, you don't know what that means. You don't understand, like, how egregious that is. You just think, oh yeah, sure, games have their problems. You want to talk about hand-waving? That's hand-waving. That's endemic to the experience. Every moment-to-moment spin of the camera, move of the character, dodge, swing, anything, it is endemically corrupted by what they chose to do with frame gen. I don't think you have an understanding of that. I truly don't. I think you're ignorant about what that means. So when I say it, you don't really acknowledge it. You're just like, yeah, games have problems. No. The frame issues in Elden Ring aren't even in the same ballpark of the issues in Black Myth Wukong. All bashing, that's what you like? Play games for a change and not Digital Foundry? I think people like you really, really struggle. I think you really, really struggle. Sorry, stop insulting my friend. I'm not insulting you. I'm telling you how it is. I think you're ignorant. I think you lack information. You're in here taking swings at me. Don't react to this guy. Oh, that's where he hangs out. I tell you what, I don't want you to be here because I don't want you getting gifted memberships. I don't want somebody like you getting a gifted membership. Again, you lack the information and the ability to understand the conversation. You're out of your depth. The adults are talking, so go sit at the kids' table. Hopefully you can help somebody get more ad revenue off of my face and my name and brand, since that has more relevancy than they do. When are you going to go to the Indiana Jones gameplay? We're going to go in 2 minutes. We're going to go in 2 minutes. Was he in YouTube chat? Yeah. You had problems with the game before the Digital Foundry came out, saying how bad it was? Yeah, I was one of the first people to go to Twitter and warn people. I went to Twitter and warned people. I was like, this is one of the worst performance modes I've ever seen. It was so bad. I was one of the only people that went out because everybody always calls me a pony. Well, all the ponies were celebrating Black Myth Wukong like it was an exclusive. And so they all hand waved and they all said, it's running fine. It's running perfectly smooth. It's great. I was one of the only people that walked out and said, no, this is a bad performance mode. Something's not right. And I had a bunch of people get all over me about it. It's like, well, wait, I thought I was a pony. Now what am I? I tried to warn people because I saw everybody saying it was running smoothly, and I was like, no. That's me helping the consumer know that we saw... Remember the leaks? Somebody was at an event or something. I forget. It was like one of the leakers. They came back from an event, and they were like, yeah, it runs 1440, really smooth 60. And we were like, oh, good. That was our biggest concern with Black Myth Wukong being an Unreal 5 game. Does the non-performance... Yeah, it has frame issues all the way down. It doesn't matter which mode you pick, Dave. Yo, Darren gifts a member and gets us a little bit closer. 484. We're getting prepped to go play Indiana Jones. Stop taking things personal. You're presuming I'm taking things personal. When someone comes in and says things to me that either aren't true or misrepresent my position, I'm going to defend myself in my position. I don't know how you have a gold badge and you're surprised that I'm doing that. Like, would you fall out of the sky and steal somebody's account? Like, people come in all the time and try and say things like that, and I defend myself. What do you want me to do? Just ignore somebody with a purple badge spewing nonsense about me? A single, I'm sorry, not from Darren. A single from Super bumps it to 85, and a 5-bomb comes in from Stone Spire and gets us to 490. Who's going to steal the 10-bomb glory? Yeah, he personally attacked me. I don't care if he was clipbaiting. That's fine. That's fine. I'll take him to the curb like I do the rest of the trash that comes in here and does it. I don't care. They're going to clip me no matter what. At the very least, I'm going to get a swing in on a guy before I take him out to the curb. Don't tell me how to run the channel. I've been doing this for a decade. It's obnoxious. Like, if someone comes in, falsely summarizes what I say, or misrepresents my position, I'm going to defend myself. And then I'm going to take them to the curb with the rest of the trash. Because that's where they belong. You can clip me all you want. Every time you clip me, every time you put me in your content, you passively confess and admit that I'm more interesting than you. Your content's boring without me, apparently. So go ahead, keep promoting me. I was getting subs every day while I took a week off. So rant, rave, seethe, and mauled. It doesn't bother me. But when someone comes into my house and does it, I'm going to address it. I'm going to address what they say, and then I'm going to kick them out. That's the way that it is. Darren gifts another member and takes us to 491. I always just want to say the 91 part, but it's like, it's 491. Don't forget that Lono can put up with a lot of stuff, but false framing what he says is one thing he has no tolerance for. Well, and I took it in stride and was kind of laughing at him. I was laughing at him. I'm like, you don't watch my content if you think I hand wave and I'm a hypocrite and I hand wave because it's FromSoft. I was very critical of FromSoft. You clip snipers grabbed clips of me raging out in Elden Ring and calling it trash. That's not somebody hand waving FromSoft. I saw 2 vids of this person defending you. Really? Somebody's out there defending me? That would be new. That would be new, boys. Where's my new... Where's my other cap card? Where is it? All of a sudden I don't have my other cap card in here? Cap card 2? Oh gosh! Indiana Jones, he got me. Oh, hang on, I gotta size this right. Am I gonna be getting audio for this? Oh yeah. Louis Love says 8 members to go, my man. And Haseo gifts 1 and takes it down to 7. Oh, Perfect Image wasn't telling... Oh, okay. Perfect Image, sorry. I thought you were talking to me when you said don't take it personal. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I think I do a pretty good job ignoring the attacks and ignoring all the content about me. But you come into my house and you start talking that way to me, you're gonna get it. Especially when you got a badge next to your name. You know? I feel like I do a pretty good job ignoring the rest of it. Yo, Noah coming in with a $20 super chat. Honestly, love how you don't take the drowning BS of all the clipbaiters and just downright ignorant fools. Keep educating. I appreciate that, Noah. Thank you. And Purple Haze. Good to see you, Purple. Purple Haze is going to gift 1 and bump it to $4.94. And a 10 bomb from Haseo. But no, I'm sorry, Haseo does a single and Risic does the 10 bomb. And that gets us well on our way to the stretch. I owe you guys 5. You have secured the first goal. Hilly and I now have to play Rivals with you. I have to play Infinity Nikki. And now you can stretch and get a stream with Madam tonight. I'm going to gift the 5 that I owe you in the gameplay stream. All right? Oh, you were... Oh, Perfect Image was talking to the other guy. People take it personal when it comes to their games. Okay. All right, I get it. Okay. He was telling the guy not to take it so personal. That makes more sense. What time is Rivals? Hilly and I will be playing that Lord of the Rings game at 3 p.m. Eastern this afternoon. And at the end of that stream, we will play Rivals with you guys. And I have to play Infinity Nikki as well. And Belphegor with the 5 bomb says, all right, let's start working on the stretch goal. We want to see Madam tonight. We want to hang out and talk to her more than Lono. Y'all are going to hate Rivals. It'll be funny. It'll be funny. All right, hang on one second. Why is this not... Oh, I see what happened. No? Which HDMI is it? Is it this one? Okay. Okay, there we go. That one, that one audio source... Here, I'll put the goal up so you guys can see it. The one audio source... usually performs better than the other directly off the HDMI. You playing on PC? No. Xbox Series X. All right, hang on. Let me get you guys a link, and let's get some tweets going. You guys are the best. I'm excited to jump in some gameplay with you. Yeah, there's no performance options in this game. I think it just defaults to a mode. It just defaults to a mode that gets 60. All right, I want to feature this video. Hopefully I don't drop any frames. That Chrome browser has just been freaking terrible lately. Anytime I try to do anything, it's super slow. All right, Indiana Jones gameplay. All right, here we go. Live. Here, I'll turn my music off. Hang on. The ambient sounds in the game are pretty good just sitting here on the menu. Okay. Game startup screen is always where you last left off. Wait, that's how this game... that they do that in this game? That's really cool. So every time I come back, it'll be... my start screen will be where I last left off? That's actually kind of dope. This start screen definitely reminds me of like how the PlayStation first party studios do their like start screens. All right, let me... I like the way you can kind of embed on Blue Sky. It's kind of cool the way that they do it. You just have to get the right hyperlink to do it. It's like the watch hyperlink is how you do it. Okay. I might drop frames uploading the link thumbnail. It doesn't like when I do this. Okay, I think we survived. All right, I am going to spam a link in chat. Have I set up redirect? I have. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button right now before we leave. Hit the like button right now before we leave. Come on, let's go. Sorry, Javier, I'm going as fast as I can. Hit the like button before we leave, and then when we get over to the new stream, go crazy on the like button, all right? We usually don't do the best with gameplay, all right? We usually lose a lot of people. Thanks so much for checking out this video. I am diving in for the very first time into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and this is on the Xbox Series X. Now, Indiana Jones gameplay, I have not touched it. It scored a little bit better than I thought. I thought it was going to get mid to low 80s on Metacritic and OpenCritic, and it's in the mid to high 80s. It's in the 86, 87 range. That's really exciting. I've heard good things. I know that the gameplay and the combat's not the best, but the other elements are quite good. So, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle gameplay starting now on the Xbox Series X. I'm going to end the previous stream where we were talking about the review scores and hanging out, and I'll change that thumbnail because we are no longer live, and I'm just going to